One of my best video game memories as a child was I used to go to my friend's house and his dad would fix arcade machines. We spent hours in his garage sitting on stools in front of various machines. So one time I went round there and he said, you know, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade. And basically, over the weekend, we did little else. So Tribute Games clearly has the same love for this classic arcade machine, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge feels like a fan's love letter to that game, and it's available now across pretty much all platforms. I was big into the Turtles when I was a kid, so I still have photos from me from Christmas morning with Turtles action figures. I remember playing the Turtles arcade, Turtles on the NES, which was surprisingly hard, and then also getting the Turtles in Time on the SNES, which used the Mode 7 graphics when it came to throwing enemies at the screen. So Shredder's Revenge has been up there on my most anticipated game since it was announced by the same team that successfully launched Streets of Rage 4 back in 2020. Well, Shredder's Revenge has all the characters and then some. Got Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo and Raphael. Plus I've got April, Splinter and Casey Jones as playable characters to support our heroes in a half shell. What's more, you can play up to 6 players in co-op mode, which is something that I've not seen before. The 4-player co-op was common in the arcade with the side-scrolling brawlers like The Simpsons, X-Men and the original Turtles arcade, but 6 players are above and beyond, and it feels really good. This new iteration of the Turtles scrolling beat-em-up adds some new features into the mix as well. It still is quite button mashy, as are all scrolling beat-em-ups, but you got combos and challenges to keep things fresh. That adds a modern take on the combat. And as well as the simple attack and jump, you got a special attack which can deal loads of damage, plus you got the dodge move so you can quickly get out of the way of the attacks and throw players into the screen, much like my beloved Turtles in Time. Now, each player has an attack meter which you fill up by attacking and dishing out combos to the Foot Clan. The aim is to fill the meter to the top, then you can unleash your super attack. However, if you take damage then the meter will reset. Super move added to the range of attacks you'll be able to dish out really helps, especially when you come up against bosses, and Tribute Games don't mess about with the successful formula too much. You know, they are clearly fans of the original games, but there's nice new additions here like the super attacks, interactive environments which can really help you out when you are in a tight spot. There's 16 levels in Shredder's Revenge and a nice array of environments. You've got the classic New York streets and sewers, plus jump to the past like Turtles in Time, and Tribute Games have crafted some brand new levels too. For example, one that takes place in a zoo. You have to contend with the escaped animals as environmental factors. Then you got classic levels when you're on a skateboard and you have to dodge cars and things like that. So each level has different environmental items you can use for damage and use to your advantage. And I spent way too much time hitting all the cones on the street level, plus you got the classic fire hydrants too. Broadly speaking though, you got 2 types of level design. One where you are walking from left to right in a fight, fighting a bunch of the Foot Clan, then ending up with a boss. Then you got the other one when you're travelling on a skateboard or a hoverboard, fighting some enemies while trying to avoid cars or other projectiles coming towards you. So it may not be new, but the levels are really well crafted and put together brilliantly in this package. So the soundtrack is one of the best it's going to release in 2022. It includes some of the classic songs from the original game, plus new tracks as well. So artists like Ghostface Killer and Mega Ran have created original tracks for the game, including the new classic Mutants Over Broadway. The music feels right out of the 90s and is perfectly placed in Shredder's Revenge. Also, the team managed to get the original voice cast back, which is really good, and good nostalgia if you are fans of that cartoon. Well, the Turtles are the star of the show, and the developers have done a really good job to make them feel like they've got unique characteristics. So Leo has got his twin katanas, Donnie's got his bow staff, Mikey's got his nunchucks, and Raphael has his twin sai. My favourite in the old Turtles game was Donatello. You know, he's a scientist, a computer-loving nerd, but also he had advantage over the others because of the bow staff. He had a longer reach than the rest of the weapons. Here, in Shredder's Revenge, they do have other distinguishing features too. Leo, for example, has a flipping somersault. Mikey can bounce off enemies with dive kicks. Raphael has a Brock Lesnar-style suplex. And Donnie still has a super long reach with his weapon. Splinter, April and Casey Jones, they're great additions to the cast as well if you want to take a break from the Turtles. You know, Splinter is a martial arts expert and scratches his opponents. April uses her TV camera equipment, and Casey Jones has a range of weapons like a hockey stick or a golf club. Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge can be played solo or as a group of players in local co-op or online. So when you play solo, you have a few extra AI players thrown in there for good measure to help you out, and you will probably need it too. The game scales with the difficulty depending on how many players you have in the game, and it doesn't really feel oppressive at all. The difficulty works well, plus you've got the choice of easy, medium and hard difficulty. There's a couple of ways to play the game. You've got the main campaign mode where you play through each of the levels and select them in an overworld, much like you would in Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World. Then you've got the classic arcade mode, where you only have a certain number of lives, making it feel like the classic arcade days. The game isn't too long, it probably could be completed in roughly 2 hours or so. And if you've got any sense of nostalgia for the classic arcade titles, I recommend giving it a playthrough. Well, Shredder's Revenge is a fantastic trip down memory lane for fans of scrolling beat-em-ups and mid-90s Turtles culture. Playing through the game took me back to playing the arcade games with friends when I was a kid, plus getting the Turtles in Time and other classic Turtles games on the NES and the SNES. I don't know what it would be like playing these games without the nostalgia. However, there's modern touches here like the combos and challenges, plus one of the best soundtracks you're going to hear in 2022. So it's also available on Xbox Game Pass and PC, so if you've got that service, you can jump in right away. Well, the game was developed by Tribute Games. It was published by Dotemu. The platforms are Xbox, PC, Switch, PlayStation, and I reviewed this one on PC. It was originally released on the 16th of June, 2022. Well, that is it for my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Absolutely fantastic, a real nostalgia trip, and also add something to the scrolling beat-em-up genre as well. Really, really good fun. I reckon this is going to be a high bar for any that has to follow, though I am looking forward if they do decide to re-release the X-Men or maybe even the Simpsons arcade game. They've done Streets of Rage 4, they've done Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Also, we've got the Cowabunga collection coming out later on in the year. So we're not done yet with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for 2022. That Cowabunga collection looks really, really good too. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. Hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.